news.
Weird science is the revolution. Weird science is the revolution.
Hello, all you weirdos, and welcome back to the Weird Science Comics YouTube channel, where we're going to do our little news program here. And we have a little bit of DC news, a bunch of Marvel stories, and then a smidgen of indie stuff. And when I say indie, I do mean non-big two, so get off my back. I end up, every time I do some sort of program like this, I get some person who has to come out of the woodwork and tell me, well, that company's not actually independent. Please, you know what we're doing here, right? I want to end up where I don't want to fight with anybody today. I've had enough of that all week. So just, if you want to point it out, you can. You can do whatever you want, but I'm going to ignore it. So yeah, indie comics news. But we're going to start with DC stuff. And last week I ended up doing the show a little late and ended up having mostly DC news. Well, what ends up usually happening then is the next week I have nothing to give you for that DC news deal. But that's not the case here, because we're going to manufacture a news item here. That's what you end up doing when you don't have it. Here it is. James Gunn does what DC struggles to do. What could that be? Well, it's sell comics. Oh my, you have one job they have. Tom King's Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, Grant Morrison's Batman, and All-Star Superman, and more DC comic titles all saw huge sales bumps following James Gunn and Peter Safran's DCU announcement, with some paperback collections even selling out on Amazon. Now, that is all great. I mean, that's fine and dandy. Some of these are a little better than the others that I mentioned above, and I think that some people might know what I mean. But with all of that, first off, if, say, the Tom King Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow is sold out when you go, I do see that True Grit, both versions, are available. So you could just get that and you pretty much equal out. But who knows how many collections and how many they have there at Amazon. Some of these, like a Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, didn't sell fantastically when it came out. So I don't know how much they were stocking, but these did end up jumping to top positions for that bit after the announcement. And that's always a good thing. On January 31st, 2023, Gunn and Safran announced 5 theatrical movies and 5 HBO Max series that will be part of their 10-year plan for the DCU. Following the announcement, several of the comics the upcoming adaptations are based on quickly jumped to the top of Amazon's bestsellers list, including 2018's Batman by Grant Morrison Omnibus Volume 1 and 2005's All-Star Superman. At the time of this article's publication, which was the other day, the trade paperback, isn't that official, the other day? The trade paperback for Tom King and Bill Everly's Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow is still out of stock. I don't know if you heard this, but you could go and watch True Grit. That's just me. I don't know. While other titles such as 2011's Booster Gold, Past Imperfect by Keith Giffen, J.M. DeMatteis, and Chris Batista have limited quantity. Actually, it's funny because I got this off of CBR, and they actually ended up making a mistake here, and maybe it's one of those, little Freudian slip where they said Keith Giffen, J.M. DeMatteis, and Chris Batista's book has limited quality. That's pretty good. I think it's Vector Shake. I think whoever wrote that article is like, I'm going to stick it to them, but I'm going to get them good. It does say that, though. It made me giggle when I just saw that. But that's it for the DC stuff, but that's cool. You ended up at the point where old James Gunn went on to the Twitters and said, well, selling comics is a good thing. Somebody has to tell DC that, right? Galooly. You got to end up where, oh, that's good. And that shows you that there is that crossover potential with the idea of movies and comics. They just have to, just the idea that James Gunn says, okay, these movies and the tone and whatnot are going to be based on these things. Then you go and grab them. But when you end up having, and I'm not even just going to stick with DC Comics, because one of my biggest things is you end up having a Black Panther movie, and then you go to grab a comic, and you got the intergalactic nonsense of Wakanda. It doesn't cross over. You know what crosses over a lot? Blackpink. They cross over all the time, right? They cross over from pop, K-pop to the pop again. That's a crossover. It is. Now, we're going to move off to the Marvel stuff. I don't know what's going on tonight. I actually don't feel so great. I think I ate some bad pork. It smelled like, I'm telling you, when you open up a package of pork and it smells like death, you shouldn't eat it. That's my advice. Now, I give that advice, but I'll never practice what I preach because I am a cheap man. So if I've paid for said pork, I always think that, well, you know what you do? It says to cook it at 370. Just put up to 400. That cooks the death out of it, and then it's good to go. But I was eating a piece of this, and these were thick, like chops, too. And I ended up, by the end of it, I could just tell that it was not going to be a good afternoon and that I was going to spend most of my time on the toilet. And here it is straight from there. Oh, my. And that was what happened like 3 times while I had to keep going. It was bad. I'm telling you, it was bad. Speaking of bad, oh, my, that is a segue. Let's go to the Marvel side of things. Dr. Doom shows up to spoil the Fantastic Four's 700th issue. Oh, my. It's funny because Dr. Doom is going to spoil it. But will he? Because maybe Ryan North will do that all on his own, right? Oh, my goodness. That is the nonsense horn, by the way. I just hit it for my nonsense about talking about pork and stuff. What am I doing here? In May, Ryan North and Ivan Coelho will celebrate 700 awe-inspiring issues of Fantastic Four. Do you think all of them were awe-inspiring? I'm saying maybe not. I read all of Dan Slott's run. It wasn't all awe-inspiring, so I can take a couple out of there. I would say of the 700 issues, I would say probably 331 were probably awe-inspiring. That would be my guess. That's the over-under. We could take bets later. With a giant-sized throwdown issue against the team's legendary arch-nemesis, Dr. Doom. Making his first appearance in North and Coelho's run, Doom will attempt to use his unmatched expertise to fix the fatal misstep that kicked off the Fantastic Four's new era and was once again one of these mystery box storytelling devices that Marvel seems to be in love with, but everybody else hates. You know what that gets? That gets the nonsense horn, because that run so far, ridiculous. After it's fully revealed later this month in Fantastic Four number 4, the team will be reunited at last, just in time for Doom to rock the world once more. So we're going to have to wait anyway to find out what went on, all that nonsense. The iconic villain will embark on an epic journey across space and time to reverse the damage that his most bitter foes have unleashed on the Marvel Universe. Will he be able to succeed where Reed Richards failed? Or will his meddling make matters far, far worse? I don't know. Usually meddling doesn't go well. Or eating bad pork. I'm telling you, they're both very similar. The oversized spectacular will also see the Fantastic Four reach their new base of operations, not knowing that their greatest threat has made it there first. As their knowledge of language itself begins to melt from their minds. This is the storyline that Ryan North is coming up with. Get this. Language itself will melt from their minds. Somebody there is like, what the hell is he talking about? But they're afraid to speak up because they don't want to look dumb. But then everybody ends up suffering. That's what happens. The Four are in disarray as their existence hangs in the balance. I'm not even going to get into it. The greatest villain of all time finally seals their doom. I get it. I get what they're saying there, right? Oh, my. There you go. That's basically my reaction every time I read this Fantastic Four. And I know that probably there's people out there who have enjoyed it. I haven't met one yet, so maybe we can meet. A Fantastic Four Ryan North fan is just a reader you haven't met yet. We've all learned now. I feel privileged to be writing the Fantastic Four at any time, honestly. But getting to have a big milestone issue happen on my watch is certainly lucky, and it's an opportunity I didn't want to waste. He says lucky because they just kind of grabbed that number out their ass and said, okay, we're going to do 700 right now. Here. Hey, he won. He won the lottery. Big anniversary issue like this demands a similarly big story. Something meaningful, impactful, and memorable. Yes, it probably would. I don't know that we're going to get it, but we'll see. And given that it's a supersized issue with more room to play, everything aligned to do a story with the Fantastic Four's most meaningful, impactful, memorable, and supersized villain, the Blob? Nope, it's Dr. Doom. Doom demands nothing less than the biggest issue of the year being dedicated to him, and I dare not defy Doom. Please stop playing this game. I hate when it's like one of those where the writer's like, and I didn't want to piss off the Joker because you know what'll happen? Nothing, because he's not really a guy. It's a big twisty story that brings the Fantastic Four to their new home and views what's happened to both families over the past year in a new light. The Fantastic Four are down but not out, and Doom senses an opportunity. I'm telling you, I don't really care for Ryan North. I really don't care either way. I mean, the guy's Canadian, I believe, so what is his harm? But I don't know, that whole paragraph made me just like him a little less. Since launching last year, North and Quello have kept readers on the edge of their seats. This is straight from Marvel. I love the hype machine that's going here. Yeah, I've been on the edge of my seat because I want to keep leaning in and punching the screen. And also, with their world-class sci-fi storytelling. What, really? The world-class sci-fi storytelling, really? And you say that you might as well just say that Zeb Wells is killing it on Amazing Spider-Man as well. You might, if you're going to lie, just get them all out at once, right? It says, don't dare miss a single issue of the true depths of the Reed, Sue, Johnny, and Ben's current predicament have only begun to unravel. Check out Alex Ross's latest breathtaking cover in that, and there's going to be a bunch of variants, I'm sure. And also pick up Fantastic Four number 7, the colossal 700th issue, when it hits stands May 17th. So for everybody who would want to collect that, and that's a big issue, 700. It's not 800, certainly not 900, and really it's not 1,000, but it's 700 out of their ass. But it is issue number 7, Legacy 700. Here's the next bit of news, a little outdated, but I didn't talk about it last week, and I just wanted to bring it up. Cannonball, Dazzler, Juggernaut headline X-Men fan vote 2023. Despite its summer 2023 X event Fall of X, I thought that was the sales the last year and a half or so, but that's just me. It may alter, even end the Krakoa X-Men era. Marvel Comics is still publishing a 3rd annual version of the Hellfire Gala this July. You know what I called the first Hellfire Gala? My jumping off point. That's what I called it. And along with it, the 3rd annual X-Men fan vote. I voted for Boom Boom back in the day to choose a member of the full new X-Men team that will be revealed during the event. And the reason why I put this is so we can list the members who are on this and guess who might win. I think that these are all rigged and fixed. I really do think that the fix is in, just like people are saying the fix was in for the Kansas City Chiefs to get in the Super Bowl. I don't know. The Eagles deserved it, but the Chiefs, a little sketchy. And now, here is the 2023 candidates. They are Cannonball, Dazzler, Frenzy, Jubilee, Juggernaut, and Prodigy. Now, I would guess that if Jubilee and Dazzler, one of those was not there, I think the one would win that. But they kind of, to me, you're going to divide the votes there of nonsense, right? And I think that, I don't know, I'd vote for, it's weird, I think I'd vote Juggernaut, but I might just screw it, I'll vote for Jubilee. Yeah, and then I'll vote thinking, well, what do I care? I'm not reading that Hellfire Gala nonsense. I don't need that stuff. I'm not even going to hit the horn. That's a given. You don't have to hit the nonsense horn when the nonsense is a given, right? That's what they say. I'm desperately trying. For some reason, I couldn't find it. My joke failed. X-Men Fall of X event kicks off with 4 before the fall specials. The publisher promises Fall of X ushers in, quote, mutant kind's next evolution. And the overarching story will impact, quote, every X-Men title and the Marvel Universe as we know it. Oh, really? Asking the question, quote, can Krakoa last forever? The 4 preceding one-shots will set the stage and will wrap up, quote, a lot of quotes here, long simmering plot lines, reintroduce major players, and put all the pieces in place for the events of the 3rd annual Hellfire Gala. That is now tagged also Jim's 3rd jumping off point. They'll never jump back on. That will also reveal the outcome of 2023's 3rd annual X-Men fan vote, which begins January 31st. I'm changing my vote to Dazzler. No, I just want to go on record, right? Now I just changed it to Frenzy. I'm just going to vote for all of them. That's how I play the game. And then I can say at the end, well, at least my character made it. Because I voted for every single one of them. There you go. I just want to mention I'm hitting hard on the sound effects because I don't have much to bring but that. It's the morning zoo now of YouTube comic news shows. It's a very small niche of things, but I'm going to fill it up. I'll fill that crack. Isn't that what they say? Avatar: The Last Airbender returns to comics with Azula in the lead. And this is the indie bit of news here. And this is our last news item, just to let everybody know. So here we go. Azula of the Fire Nation will be the focus of the new upcoming Avatar original graphic novel titled Avatar: The Last Airbender, Azula in the Spirit Temple. It just rolls off the tongue, that one. I mean, usually you get like compact titles. I give them credit. This title is probably half the size of the graphic novel. Set in the continuity of the original show, Azula in the Spirit Temple will be created by Faith Erin Hicks. Don't know Faith Erin Hicks, but I bet that they call her F.E.H. Wouldn't that be cool? Hey, you read the new book by F.E.H.? They're like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm like, oh, well, I guess you're not in the know. Me and all the kids down at the malt shop are talking about F.E.H. It's when you start the hype. This is how you get the groundswell of the hype. Peter Wortman, who I just call the Wortman, right? Adele Matera. And really, if you're going to play this game that I'm playing right now, you obviously will tell people that I'm going to be reading this Avatar book that Adele is part of. That'll get people in. And Jimmy Bentoncourt, who may or may not be the guitarist from Extreme. I'm not sure. And focus on the time after Azula left the Fire Nation in the wake of her brother Fire Lord Zuko's ascent to power. Is that when Lord Zuko went off after that vacation in Australia, went back home, and then Sandy came? And he was all embarrassed in front of his friends. He was like, whoa, what's going on, Sandy? What's happening? That's cool, baby. Right? And then at the end, they fly off in a car that people then say they were dead, but I don't know how they died any time in that movie. Maybe in that race with Craterface? I don't know. Avatar: The Last Airbender, Azula in the Spirit Temple goes on sale September 27th. So there you go. That's the news. You learned so much and probably just got so annoyed with me, but that's how we play the game. All right, but that's it. Thanks, everybody, for listening. I hope that you had a little bit of a smirk and a smile on your face as we go through that, and I'll be back next week with more news. So I will talk to everybody then.
You are all weirdos.
Weird science is the revolution. Weird science is the revolution.